Okay, so we're going to make our starter, just our normal flour and water. So we're going to tip the flour into our mixer. And everything can be done in the mixer with this recipe, which makes it really easy. So we're going to put in our water. Drop it in. And we'll mix that until it's got no lumps and it's all looking very smooth. Okay, so this should be ready, and we're just going to have a look, make sure it's all mixed. So we just want to make sure there's no lumps in it at all. It's a bit difficult with all the bubbles, but that's what we want, no lumps, and all the flour and water is mixed really well. So now we're going to cook our starter, and this is quite simple. We're just going to put our mixture into our pan, and we'll just need to keep stirring it and until it's ready. If we stop stirring, it's going to burn, and we don't want that. So pour it into the pan. Okay, put it on our heat, and we're on quite a low heat, and we're just going to keep stirring and watch this as this cooks. And what we want is when it's ready, you should be able to move the spoon and it'll leave the trace, so you see exactly where the spoon's gone. So as you can see, it's starting to thicken up, and if you've got a thermometer, basically 65 degrees is what we want it to, but we don't have one of those. So the trick is to keep stirring it and cooking it until the spoon imprints stay. So we'll give you an idea of what that looks like. It's thickening up nicely. So this takes about sort of 5 minutes or so to cook this, and just on a sort of low heat, but basically just keep going until you get the consistency which we're getting now. You can see it's starting to really thicken up nicely. Just keep stirring it because you don't want to lose your pans with burning this flour into it. So it's starting to look good. You can really see it's starting to really thicken up now. And as we move through, you can see it's getting quite solid, which is exactly what we want. So that sort of consistency that we want. So that's done. Okay, so our starter is now cooled, and we're ready to mix the main bread. So what we've got our flour, our sugar, our salt, our starter or Tangzhong. We've got our yeast, which has already been mixed in with the milk, and we've got an egg there. And for the yeast, we've just used one of the sachets there. This one's from Hovis, and I've used all 7 grams of it, so it normally provides a nice rise. Okay, so first thing we do is we're adding our flour. Okay, so we've already got our machine here ready with our dough hooks. We're going to add our sugar. We're going to add our salt is in there as well. I'm just going to pop this down here and get this ready. Our Tangzhong is here as well, all nicely cool, so we're going to pop that in as well. Pop it all in. So the mixer. Fantastic. I'm going to start the machine here. You won't be able to hear me, so I'm just going to add the milk and yeast in and the egg as it starts mixing. that's all the ingredients in. So we're going to mix this into a dough. Okay, so we're just mixing it into a dough. You see it starting to form. There's still a bit of dry there, but that's because this mixer is not the best in the world, so we'll manually sort of push that in. So our last ingredient to add is our melted butter. So it's been melted and cooled, and we're just going to add that in now. And that's the last ingredient. And then we're going to leave this to mix for about 15 minutes. So it's going to knead with the dough hooks for about 15 minutes. You can do it manually if you want to, but if you've got one of these machines, just let the machine do the work. It's a lot easier. Trust me, I've done it the other way, and your hands hurt after about 5 minutes. Okay, so we'll add it in, and then we'll come back to you about 15 minutes. Okay, so that's been kneading for around about sort of 15-20 minutes. It's ready now, you can tell, because it's nice and stretchy, which is exactly what you want it to do. So what we're going to do now is we're just going to cover that with cling film. We're going to take it off the mixer first and cover it with cling film. Put it in a warm place. We normally put it in our airing cupboard, and we're going to wait for that to double in size. So it's about doubled in size now. So we're going to take it out, put it out onto a lightly floured board. And we'll see it will deflate. Out onto our board, and all we're going to do is just roughly sort of give it a little bit of a knead. It doesn't need to be too much. We're just going to really, at this point, we're just going to shape it, and we're going to put it into our tin. And so, what's this sort of approximate shape that you want? So that looks okay. We're just going to pop it in. We're just going to cover that again, and let it rise up again till about doubled in size, or about the size that you want it in to come out with, and then we'll put it in the oven. So this is our bread after it's risen for its second time. So it's ready now. You just see that on this occasion that it's hanging over the sides a little bit, but it will bake that way, but it doesn't really matter. You can leave it longer and it will rise a lot higher, but I think that will do us for now. So we're going to put this into the oven, 180 degrees centigrade, for 30 to 35 minutes until it's brown. And you can always check that it's ready by tapping the base at the bottom. It should sound hollow. But let's put it in and see how we get on. Okay, so about 35 minutes later, this is ready to come out, and the smell is absolutely gorgeous. So this is our finished loaf. As you can see, it's hard top at the moment. It will soften up as it cools. If you had put a glaze on top of that, it would look really nice as well. But we haven't got a brush, so we can't do any glazing. So we're just going to take it out. So see, it comes out really easily because we lubricated the pot with some butter earlier. Got a nice sort of hollow tap to it, which is what we want. That's the bread. So we're going to put it on our rack, and we'll leave it there to cool. Once that's cooled, it's ready to eat. Lovely jubbly.